The topics today on the agenda for files is what is the Files app? How do you add storage locations if you want to? Finding files and folders, finding your downloads, which will be tricky because I'll have to show you at the end where downloads are in the Files app because they aren't where you might think they would be. And we're going to do all of this in iOS 26. I have the beta version, but it's going to be released within a week. Files is a window. It is an app, but it gives you a view into other locations. It allows you to not only look at iCloud, it allows you to look at your Google Drive if you have the Google Drive app installed. And we're going to actually install an app on my phone and connect it. It looks at OneDrive, and it also looks at on-device storage and any external drive you can plug in because Apple lets you plug in external drives with the USB-C connector. There are some differences between how it works and looks on the iPhone and the iPad. An iPad has a larger screen, so it can show more, but they've actually created a more differentiated operating system on iPadOS that is different from iPhone or iOS for the phone. The iPhone has a single pane view. It is a small screen. So the way the Files app works, it's optimized for you to work with it when you're just looking at a single pane, not a multi-pane window. You tap to navigate, move around, and it's a full screen app. So it takes up the full screen. And it's probably best for quick access. If you're trying to manipulate and organize files, it's not as intuitive or as quick to use as on the iPad, but it will work if you just have that device with you. You will have access to all the files that you can see through the Files app, whether you have them on OneDrive, iCloud, Google Drive, any other drive, or even locally stored on your device. The iPadOS gives you a little bit of a difference. It's a split pane view, and that's a view where you have that left sidebar column on the left and a view onto your right. A lot of iPad apps have that, like Mail and other things, so that you can navigate on the left and see on the right very easily. And it makes it easy to navigate. You can drag and drop a little more easily on the iPad, on the iPhone. It's more of a tap or tap and hold function. I actually was able to move files around, and I'll show you how to drag and drop them. In the iPad, you can actually move files from one cloud to another cloud on your iPad using the Files app, which is kind of neat. And then it's got an app window that gives you the ability to multitask, so you can actually look at another app and navigate around in it if you want to. It's got some keyboard shortcuts. If you attach a keyboard to your iPad, you could use it with a keyboard and a mouse, but it does have keyboard shortcut availability. The thing important to understand here is we're going to talk a little bit about downloads. If you thought you understood downloads, it's going to change a little bit once I show you the Files app, because they actually are in a different place than you would think if you were using a desktop or a laptop. Now I am sharing my iPhone screen. You should be able to see the Files app. It's a standard app that comes with every Apple product. It's called Finder on Mac, but it's called Files on iPad and iPhone. If I tap the app, it'll take you to the last thing you were looking at. It'll give you a back button. It'll give you 3 buttons up here for more. And it'll give you a navigation tool at the bottom for recents, shared, and browse. We'll go through all of these. This is my iCloud drive I am looking at right now. If I tap the back button, that takes me back to a browse function where I can search or I can see my locations. I have iCloud Drive, my OneDrive personal account, my Google Drive, space on my iPhone. I use a tool called Grammarly that has files it stores in the cloud, and I can see things that have been recently deleted. I can look at recents here by tapping on recents. I can tap on shared, and it'll show me all of the files that are shared, not just the ones in iCloud. It shows me if I've shared them in OneDrive, as well as in other clouds, other iCloud Drive. And then there's this downloads file here. So this is where things get downloaded when you download them from a website or something to your phone. We've got this section here in iCloud Drive, and I'm going to go to iCloud Drive and show you. I've got different folders here. I've got the ability to search in all of my iCloud Drive, and I've got some folders with things in them. It'll tell you how many items are in them, and it'll give you a cloud symbol if they're in the cloud, and tells you if they're downloaded by not showing you the cloud symbol. I have a couple of cameras, and I have a camera manual that I have in my download file, and I'm going to show you how to move it into this camera manual file when we go to my iPad. You'll notice that I have a little camera icon here. You are now able in iOS 26 to put icons and color these folders to different colors. But I could only do it in my iCloud Drive, not in other drives. So I have this books folder right here. And in my books folder, I have a couple of books that I keep on my iPhone for convenience. But if I tap and hold on the books folder, I'm going to tap on this bar right here. If I tap and hold on it, it brings up a new context menu. I can copy this folder, I can move it, I can share it, I can remove the download. It doesn't remove the file from my iCloud. It just says, I don't want it downloaded on my phone. I can download it now if I want to keep it on my phone in case I'm not going to be on the internet. I can keep downloaded so it never just goes back to the cloud. I can get info about it. I can rename it. I can compress it. I can duplicate it. I can create a new folder with an item, and I can mark it as a favorite, in which case it'll show up at the top of my list, or I can customize the folder and tags. I'm going to tap Customize the Folder and Tag because that's one of the things that's new in iOS 26. So I have little icons here that I can choose from for almost any type of use that I might imagine. If I want to put a little icon on a folder to help me recognize what that folder is about, I can use that folder. So I can use it if something, whatever I might want to choose, whatever available for symbols or anything. But let's see if I can find a book here. Travel and Places, Objects here. Okay, Objects. So this is my books folder. I'm going to tap on this book icon. And then I'm going to tap the checkbox in the upper right-hand corner. And now I have a nice little icon on my books folder right here to help me find it. This is going to be on Mac, iPad, and on iPhone. Now, if I tap and hold it again, and I go back to this Customize Folder and Tags, and I tap on the Tags menu here, it brings up a list of tags. I've created some tags over time for files. I can create new ones if I want to, but these are all color-coded, and you'll get some default ones that'll come with it. So I have a tag called Books, Classes. I'm going to pick one that's a really different color, like Web here. I want to use this color because if I tap this tag and choose this color, it's going to change the color of my folder right here to help me find it a little bit easier. So on iOS, iPad, and Mac, you have the ability to customize folders if you want to change their view and how they look. Now, one of the things I have in iCloud Drive is when I go back to locations, I am in Files. Files gives me access to my OneDrive, so I can see anything that's in my OneDrive just as though I were on my Mac or on the web or anything else. I can see what's on my Google Drive. It wants authentication to make sure because it did an update recently, but I can see any of those. And I can see what I might have on my iPhone, if there's any files I have on my iPhone, because sometimes when you have an attachment to an email, it's stored there, or you download something from a browser, it stores it in the browser file. So that's what some of these might be if I use them. I don't use them too frequently. But how did these things like OneDrive and Google Drive and Grammarly show up here in this list? They're not going to be in your list unless you add them. So if you tap the three dots, you also have a new option now called Scan Documents. You can scan documents right from the Files app, which is really convenient. But if I want to add another location, I'm going to do that. This Connect to Server is designed for more in-house operations and online corporate and organizational, where they have a specific address for a server that has data that's stored in their intranet. If I tap Edit here, it gives me the ability to see the locations that I have here, and I can organize these by using these sliders and move them up and down. These show up here because I have downloaded the app. So what I'm going to do is go back to my home screen. I'm going to go to the App Store, and we're going to see if this works. This worked yesterday. I'm going to go to the App Store, and I'm going to look for Dropbox. So if I look for Dropbox, I have an account, and hopefully I can log in. And let me get Dropbox here. So if I go look for Dropbox in the App Store, it brings it here, and I can download the app. It's downloading it, and it will put Dropbox on my iPhone. So I can look at Dropbox, and I can see everything that I have here, or I can use it to log in and continue working on this. Let's see if we can get this signed in okay. I hope we will, because it did. Yes, there we go. So I'm signing into my Dropbox account. It sent a code. Thank you. I'm going to verify this in just a second. Hopefully it will give me ability to do that. Enter my Dropbox code. There we go. And now I should be verified. And it's going to load up Dropbox. So now I have Dropbox on my iPhone. You can see there's a Dropbox icon here. So you would do this with your Google Drive app. You would do this with your OneDrive app. Now, if I go back to Files, and I look at this information here, and I want to edit this information, I now see a Dropbox listed here. It's listed because I downloaded the app. So if I tap to turn it on, now Dropbox will show up in my list of locations in my iPhone. It's syncing, and once it's synced, I'll get a little symbol here that'll connect and work. There's my little symbol here. I just wanted to show you how you get a location listed in the Files app if you don't see it, because you won't see OneDrive or Google Drive or any cloud drive you use except iCloud Drive. iCloud Drive is installed by default, and you'll see it there. That's how you add a location. And if you don't want to display it, you would just tap the edit button and you turn the item off, and it won't show up in that list anymore. How do you download something from the web? I'm going to go to Pexels. They've got some great stock photos, and I want to take a photo here. Let's got one here. Let me find a photo here. Just anyone that's up here. And I've got the ability to do a free download. I'm going to download this, and I'm going to download it to my iPhone. Now, where did it end up? Well, if everything went right, it should be in Files, and it should be in Downloads. There it is. There's the Pexels photo that I downloaded. Now, I'm going to move my mouse down slowly so that you can see something that says at the bottom, synced with iCloud. The downloads on your phone and your iPad are synced with iCloud. If you go to your Mac and you look at the iCloud folder in your Finder sidebar, you will see a Downloads folder that will have the downloads that are synced from your iPhone and your iPad. So there are actually two places you could have downloads. When you download on a Mac, it's going to go to your download folder on your local drive, not on your cloud. But when you download items to your iPhone and your iPad, it's in the Downloads folder under Files, but it is synced with iCloud as well, so that you have that ability to get to it. I can switch over to my iPad. This is my home screen. There's the Files app. If you notice on the dock here, there's something showing up that wouldn't have shown up before. That's actually Downloads. If I tap on that, it looks an awful lot like Finder. There is the Pexels photo that I downloaded on my iPhone. It is synced up with my iPad right away. And I can open up downloads and files with a very similar button to how I would open up downloads on my Mac. So iPads and Macs are looking an awful lot alike when it comes to file management. If I tap the Files app here, I have the ability to manage it very similarly. So on an iPad, you'll see a sidebar. This is a window. There's a little icon down here at the lower right. That's a grip icon. I can grip this and actually expand my window to fill the full screen. But I also can get a menu to appear by swiping down from the top. And I have the ability to manage this window by minimizing it, exiting full screen, centering it, or moving and resizing. I have the ability to manage this with a menu bar now that didn't exist. So I have the Files menu bar. I can manage settings. I can go to File and I can see different things. I can edit, view, and do other things. I can change my view as icons, as a list, as columns. I can sort them by different approaches. And these options are on the iPhone. They're just not as many. They have fewer options, but I can sort anything I have and I can show view options that I might want to show and modify them in some way, sort by, etc. I have the ability to tap this icon in the upper right that has a menu button, and it gives me the ability to quickly sort them as icons, as columns, as a list, or sort them in whatever option I want to use. So we have a lot more power here. I have a navigation button to go back and forth. I can select things on the left. So if I want to see my iCloud drive, I can see it right here all at once. If I want to see what's on my iPad, I'll see it here. If I want to see what's in OneDrive, I'll see it here, and I can get to all my files and folders. I can go to my Google Drive here. I can go to all of these and move them around and manage them. Now, I'm going to try something here. On my downloads and my iCloud Drive, I've got a folder that I have called Camera Manuals. I have a Nikon camera and a Sony camera. But I downloaded the Sony instruction book, and it's in downloads. I would really like to get it in the same folder on my iCloud Drive. It's possible to do. I'm going to tap and hold this, and I'm going to actually drag it over to my iCloud Drive, and then I'm going to pop up my folders and drag it into my camera folder. And I have now moved it into my camera. I actually moved it. So you have the ability to tap and hold on a folder. I can take this Pexels, I can move it, and I'll talk about that menu in a minute. I can even move it into OneDrive if I want to. I just drag, and it's going to open up all these things that I want to look at, and I just drop it into the folder. So you can actually move things from OneDrive to iCloud Drive to Google Drive, back to OneDrive, and you have the ability to move things between your clouds just by dragging and dropping, by tap and hold and move that around. If I tap and hold on this file again, you'll see that context menu that popped up. I do have the ability to copy it and move it. I can, if it's something that like is a Word document and I don't want to see it, I can do a quick look. I can change what I open it with. I can get info, rename it, compress it, start a new folder, and I can take some quick actions like rotating it or create a PDF or convert an image or even remove background. So it's possible to do some things here because it recognizes this is a photo. I can assign tags to these folders. So if I want to go to this Bobology Media folder here, and I wanted to assign a tag to it, I'm going to go to my Bobology Media folder, hold on it, and it brings up this list here. I'll go to this folder. If I scroll up, I should have options to do that customize, but I'm in OneDrive, not in iCloud Drive. So I don't have those options that I have when I have a folder in iCloud Drive that gives me the ability to customize the folder and tags. That's only going to be folders you have in your iCloud where you can do that. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to use them. And you can select even emojis if you want to, and put an emoji here that you might want to have for that tag or icon, okay? And use that. So it's just a few options that are available that you can apply. And so you're putting a little emoji, and this will replicate across your iPhone and across your Mac as part of iOS 26. There's a lot of features available with them. There's a lot of options. It gives you a lot of capability to deal with different types of approaches that you might want to use. The iPad is becoming much more Mac-like in terms of its use. The iPhone has a lot of power now on what you might want to do with files and managing and moving them around. So I wanted to show you files. Thank you all, by the way, for coming today and listening to my tech topic on files.